Well, I'm back. I talked about all the qualifiers yesterday, what took place. Now I'm going to give you my top 10 list of the day. And this, not obviously, it's take it with a grain of salt. There's no Ontario breds on this list because these were all our American horses that were qualifying. So this is a top 10 list of the week because these are the only horses that could shown off. Obviously, there's some Ontario breds that are looking very, very good, but this is the top 10 list from the week of qualifiers. So obviously, number one, I think goes without saying, Knockdown Dragout was pretty impressive. I thought there were some horses very impressive, but when a filly, here's the thing, she wasn't challenged. This is a filly that did this all on her own. There was nobody to race with. There was nobody to push her, to prod her on. This was her, pure talent. And Knockdown Dragout was very, very good. Spend That Money was almost as impressive, but James opted to get over the half and two. I will say this about Spend That Money. Obviously, she's not as aggressive as Knockdown Dragout the wire. Spend That Money is a very good filly. Make front, do everything. I'm going to tell you something. People aren't going to like this. We have this horse hung up the same way as Oso Pine. She gets over on the right shaft, very fast, very powerful, can leave, finish, do everything. She doesn't have the same temperament as Oso Pine as far as he's having a bit of a rough time this year. Last year he had some problems with bleeding in the middle of the year, and he wasn't quite as effective on the front end. Minor things, but still, take nothing away. I don't want to hear anybody complain about Oso Pine. The horse made $100,000 last year, trotted in 56 2 weeks ago. Yes, I'll admit, he has not appeared to be the horse we needed him to be. Not even a shadow of that horse yet this year. But doesn't mean he can't come back and move forward. Wasn't that long ago everybody was looking for the life rafts. Oliver, stop. It wasn't that long ago everybody was looking for the life rafts with White Tiger because he made a couple of breaks in qualifiers. There was some shares sold. It takes time. These are horses. They're not machines. So getting back to Spend That Money, I see a lot of similarities in the gait and obviously the speed and the power. You look back last year this time, Oso Pine was the same way. Obliterated the maiden his first time, finished second in the qualifier to White Tiger, only because White Tiger ran away with me and Sylvain was being safe with Oso Pine. Very, very similar, and I've said this all winter long. Their tendencies are the same, but this filly, watch the video, right? Bow in her neck the whole way down the lane, earplugs in her ears. She was all business yesterday. Spend That Money was ultra impressive also. Not as fast as Knockdown Dragout, but very, very good. Horse that was very impressive also, Arctic Force. How good was this colt? I said to Kenny coming in and the clients, Oliver, don't step on that. I need that paperwork, sweetheart. Arctic Force, I thought would pace 57. Maybe come 28, good mile, send him to Yonkers. I said to Dan Dubé going out, and we'll get to this later. I said the same thing to Dan Dubé I said to Louis. Louis and Dan, horse got a stake race in 12 days in Yonkers. Let's stretch him out. They're both ready. Dan took that very seriously. Brushed him over to the front, controlled the race. No boots, no nothing on this colt. He's going to be a nice colt, I think, and showed it yesterday. I thought he was ready for 57. 55 and 4, last half 55, last quarter in 27, I guess. Pretty impressive. Arctic Force was very good. Another horse that obliterated his qualifier, Sebastian Yu. Very good yesterday. What you guys don't understand about that qualifier, this is a smart horse that will learn. He didn't get to learn much all winter because he was on the run. He really didn't start putting his game together even until the corks came off end of February. This is a colt that's learned a lot, continues to learn, and what I saw yesterday with those shadows just reaffirms to me how smart he really is. Sebastian Yu was legit and looked very, very good yesterday. I'll Play It Alone could have been listed higher. I just said this to a gentleman here. How many times have you ever seen first start behind the gate, official start behind the gate, first time qualifier, a horse cut out the mile, come his last half in 54 and 4 and get beat? Never ever see that, ever. And I'll Play It Alone was very good, 26 and 4 on the end of it. This is a nice colt. If you'd asked me a month ago, I'd say, okay, we'll see. He looked pretty good. The only reason I'm not beaming about him is obviously that little voice in the back of my head saying, yeah, you got some Captain Treacherouses and Sweet Lou's and other Some Beach Some Airs waiting for you in Pennsylvania. You're right. Doesn't mean anything, does it? His mother was an Ontario champion at 2, and I know because I drove her. and his father, obviously, you know that. I'll Play It Alone can be any kind of a colt, and definitely got off to a good start. Just little piece of advice, little tidbit. The horse that ran us down, another Some Beach Somewhere, at a Sports Chick, $150,000 colt in Lexington last year. We paid $14,000 for ours, and he was not 10 times as good as ours yesterday. You know, he looked good and good for Blake. This colt looked good too. Very, very happy with him. Harness AM. How good was she yesterday? I said this over and over again. I said it in the outset. Never seen her attack with that killer instinct before. She just did everything by the book. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did everything right. Always good. She was very good yesterday. Very, very good. Very happy with Harness AM. Probably going to give her one little trip to the vet and then off to, I believe, John Butenshane's farm. I know we had a couple of people, you know, were maybe down on John Butenshane because he had Stonebird Simba. Come on now. It's a little unfair, you know, and I had to give somebody his stats the last 3 years. John Butenshane is a world-class trainer, and has done very, very good for quite a while. Yes, Andrew is on a roll and crushing right now, and he's a great trainer too, but that doesn't take anything away from John. This game's funny sometimes. It can really beat you down, and you know that. You guys have been a part of that all winter right here with us. But make no mistake, as quick as you can hit the bottom of that roller coaster, it can bring you right back up to the top. And, you know, John had, what was it, Good Funkin' Waffles? I think was the name of the horse. Good pacer he had 2 years ago, raced in all the major races. John's a great trainer. He's going to have a good year. We're going to help him do that. I think Sebastian, I think that Harness AM, Libero Hanover, a couple others will probably be headed to him. Anyway, Harness AM looked tremendous yesterday. Didn't just attack, and kept her foot right on the throat of her rivals the whole way down the lane. Never let off the gas and drove away. Very important that they do that. That's what winners do. And she looked like a nice filly yesterday. Bottle of Red. I was waiting with bated breath. I still got some shares of Bottle of Red for sale. And you know, we had to give her 2 weeks off, and then she came back and she trained. You could see the last 2 weeks how they missed 2 weeks. You know, they were just shorter. They weren't as good. And I was very, very happy with what I saw yesterday. 27 in a piece. James coming down the lane with the earplugs in and wrapped up under the wire. I wish he had reached up and won. Maybe he thought he was going to. That horse on the outside was drifting wide. Maybe James thought he was going to win, but never really gave her a head. That's fine. She's got a stake race on the 24th in Monticello. Certainly looks like she's going to get around any size track, and looked real good yesterday. And Bottle of Red, pretty impressive start for her. Emerald Miss didn't look tremendous. Won her qualifier 2 minutes last quarter, 29, last half 58, I think. But did it right. And James made note before we went out that she'd made a couple of breaks coming in. Was probably only ready for 2 minutes. When you get to this speed, you just can't leap forward most of the times. Ollie, everybody can see you. You just don't leap forward all the time. It's little bits of progression. And Emerald Miss looked great yesterday. This is exactly... Ollie, stop. In fact, Bourbon and Barley's first qualifier she won, I believe, 2 minutes in a piece. She come 26-4, but she went a mile in 2 minutes and was ready to. Had come 27 the week before, 28 the week before that. This filly's on the same trajectory here. Emerald Miss looked great. A horse that was kind of overshadowed yesterday by how impressive Knockdown Dragon looked like was Compass Rose DC. No, I'll just turn the car back on, buddy. Compass Rose DC looked very, very good yesterday. Very happy with how impressive this filly looked. Louis loves her, still loves her, and James is really impressed with her also. He wanted to buy some shares of her. I said, there's none left. What do you want me to do? Compass Rose DC, she is Ohio bound very soon. Looked great. And last, there was a couple of horses could have slid into the number 10 list. I'm giving it to Susie K. 2-2 last half in a minute, last quarter, 29 apiece, 30 seconds. Susie K, if I had told you in January was going to qualify June 8th in 2:02, you would have laughed at me. She just didn't look capable of being an effective horse. She went a faster mile yesterday and looked better then. So let me give it to you right now. Willpower Fashion, Crazy Mission, Roser and Valiant, Bend Over, Jailhouse Master, Very similar mile to Havana Unana, who I think very highly of. Hey, she should have been on this list. Oh, well, Susie beat her out. Havana Unana, Overdue Mission, Miss Mischief Maker. She didn't go faster, but looked better, I would think, or as good as Nancy Allison, because Nancy was a little ornery yesterday, and Susie did everything right, as she always does. Also, Susie K, Path of Totality, Spirit of Dio, run. Libero, Hanover, Rooney, Blue Chip, Yours If You Want It, run. So did Johan, and Sometimes Things Happen. Susie K looked damn good yesterday, didn't she? Do you know Susie K? Yeah? Susie K looked really good and deserves to be on the top 10 list. She might actually make a start in Ohio, or we might take her to Grand River, her first start. I don't know. If Northfield's going to start racing 2-year-old races, this would be a great fit for Susie K. So we'll see what the next week and a half or so brings. I don't really think there's any need. Stop. I don't really think there's any need. Oliver. I don't think there's any need to re-qualify this filly. She's just a workhorse going out in the track. Her ears are straight up. She knows what she's there to do, and she's happy to do it as always. Just a workhorse. I love Susie K. Very happy with her yesterday, and very happy with the other horses on this list. Pretty much happy with everybody. There's only a very, very small list of disappointments, and I'll go through those also with you in a minute, because many of them had reasons. We'll get over to them right in a second. That's my top 10 list for the qualifying week. I think we're pretty well spot on. Some 10 very impressive miles out of 34. There was some other ones that went pretty good. Keep in mind, Overdue Mission didn't make this list. Havana Unana didn't make it. Miss Mischief Maker didn't make it. Nancy Allison didn't make it. Rooney didn't make it. Sometimes Things Happen didn't make it. Just for Me and You, Really Blue Chip, Rose Run Versatile. These are horses that all trotted and didn't make this top 10 list. We only had a couple of breakers. 34 out of qualify. I think 29 made it. Pretty good day overall, especially considering the ones that broke. I'll get to that in a minute. Be right back in a minute with 10 or 11 that really didn't do it well yesterday, but I'm going to tell you why. Back in just a second.